Welcome everybody to our session for the Masters in Comparative Education International Development. My name is Will Smith. I'm the program director for what we talk about as the CEID program here. I'm delighted to see people joining from all over the world for today's session and really look forward to sharing the program with you. I'm going to be joined today by one of our current students, Willow Chen, who's going to be able to share a little bit of a student perspective and experience. So as we get started, it's important for you to understand what the program is to make sure that you're a great fit here. So the MSc CID is a one-year full-time or two-year part-time program. And what we believe is partially unique about it is that it combines comparative education with education and international development. That unique combination is actually part of what drew me to the university, as I think if you look in the field, you'll see programs that are Masters in Comparative Education or Masters in Education and Development. And we're trying to use that comparative approach to understand some of these development issues and how education affects them. So there are compulsory introductory courses and research methods, but that also means that you can choose half of your courses from a range of over 15 options. And this culminates in a dissertation, which is an independent research project. And we'll talk more about the unique offer we make for the dissertation in a bit. So what are the big questions in CID? Hopefully these are the questions that you're interested in as well. So perhaps something like, how do education systems compare? We have a lot of students that are coming and wanting to learn about how their system and the systems they're familiar with compare to other systems around the world. What is the relationship between education and development? And here, yes, we mean education and economic development. We also mean other parts of education and health, and education and global citizenship, and education and peace building. What disparities exist between and within countries? This is important. Comparative education is not just comparing across countries, but also looking at differences within countries. And we're taking this social justice approach to really look at how different minority and marginalized groups are impacted and what education can do for them. What is the relationship between the global and the local? So my experience tends to be at the global level, and I'm always interested in kind of this global local, or sometimes talked about as glocal approach to development. How do local communities adapt or kind of repel global pressures? How do these two areas work together? And then it's also really important to think about context. So you might be interested in something like, well, how does the context of education affect its input, outputs, and outcomes? Right. So while we're looking in comparison, we need to realize that we can't just copy and paste something from one country to the other or one community to the other, that we really need to take context into account. So who might be interested in this program? Well, first, individuals that want to explore these big questions, right, around education systems around the world, education and development, or this global local relationship. So we are 2 years into this program, so it's still fairly new, but we have individuals coming to us from their undergraduate, so straight from their undergraduate degrees, and these are usually in relevant programs in education, social, and political sciences. Some individuals are coming with experience from the development sector. We have a lot of individuals coming in as teachers or educators that are looking to kind of broaden their perspective, gain a global perspective, and either go back to teaching or maybe even shift careers. And we have others that are really looking to change careers, and that might be somebody from development looking to focus more on education, or others working in education that really want to feel something different. So the courses. I talked about required compulsory courses. So these are the introductory courses. You'll be taking these if you're full-time during the first semester. So it'll be starting in September. You'll be taking Introduction to Comparative Education and Introduction to Education International Development. Both of these lay out some of the foundational theories and ideas and concepts in these two areas, as well as talking about how they're connected. You're also required to complete a method series with us. So the method series is 5 weeks of sources of knowledge in the first semester and 5 weeks of conceptualizing research, which is a little more applied, second semester. And then everyone's required to complete their dissertation, which for us, we talk about the dissertation throughout the year. and then you really start working on it in March, April, and then data collection in the summer, and you have it done by early August. And if you've got questions around that, you can ask Willow, because I'm sure she's in the middle of thinking about dissertations. Okay, I'm going to pause here for a second and give you a sense of what are the courses that you have to choose from. So you get to choose 3 courses. At least 2 of them have to be from the list on the left. Okay. So at least 2 of your option courses have to be to the list on the left, call that list A. And then you get to choose 1 from the list on the right, or list B, or another approved course. So for instance, we had somebody this year do development economics as their approved course. So that approved course has to be shared with me as the program director. But as long as it's at the right level and relevant for our program, it's likely to be approved. So I want to make this clear because I don't want you coming in thinking, oh, I really need to be a part of the curriculum course, right? If that's the whole reason you want to be here, then I'd suggest a different program for you, because that course is actually housed somewhere else. And I can't guarantee you a spot on those courses on the right. Okay. The courses on the left, where you need to choose 2 from, we can pretty much guarantee a space because those sit within our program for the most part. Okay. But you can see here, going from global governance and education, which is my course, drawing from my time at UNESCO, looking at social inequalities. We have a very popular education and conflict course, and anthropology, or comparative analysis, which is much more practical, and then education policy, which is one of the school's larger courses looking at education policy. So hopefully you see something on there that you're passionate about and are interested in learning more from. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time about what makes this program really unique. We put a lot of thought in the creation of this program, and we think we have a unique offer here. The first, as you're probably well aware, is that the University of Edinburgh, Moray House, is one of the top ranked universities and schools of education in the world. And I think our 2024 rankings just came out, and our School of Education just improved to 12th in the world. So we're regularly a top 30 education school in the world. We're also committed by passionate faculty, which I think is important. So this last year, all of our core faculty have been nominated for Teacher of the Year, and 2 of the core faculty are shortlisted for university awards, which including Supervisor of the Year and Teacher with a focus on socials. So they are one of the 3 finalists across the whole university for those awards. So we're quite proud of them. Other things that make us unique, we talked about that flexible programming, right, where you're able to choose half of your courses from those option courses. They come from a range of backgrounds, including anthropology, sociology, education, conflict, and others. We try to provide really practical opportunities here. And there are 2 ways we do this. So first is through our dissertation. So you have 2 options for your dissertation. You have a traditional dissertation and you have a placement-based option. Your placement-based dissertations you need to qualify for, meaning you need to reach certain marks in first semester and apply for. But we've tried to make sure that individuals have opportunities that qualify and are interested in being placed. This means that you're going to be completing your dissertation in a select local, regional, or global organization. So this year we've got organizations including sustainability partnerships, looking at the relationship between education and the environment in schools. ScotDec, in the past we've had the Scottish Malawi partnership. I think we still have the Center for Innovation in East Africa, where in the last 2 years we've had individuals go to Nairobi to do data collection in Kenya. We're looking at trying to continue to build relationships with interesting organizations, including talking with currently to UNESCO, to the Overseas Development Institute, to the Matri Trust, and a bunch of different organizations we're trying to get relationships with. So it's quite a unique opportunity to gain some practical experience while completing your dissertation. The second practical opportunity I guess, formal practical opportunity is with our spring semester trip. And so during Reading Week second semester, we take the whole cohort to London, where we meet with organizations working in the education and development field. So this last year, we all met UNICEF UK and spent a couple hours at their offices, and we took about half the cohort to the Overseas Development Institute to talk to them. And so this is an annual trip we'll be going. This is an annual trip where transportation and lodging is paid for, so you don't have to worry about that. Career options. Now, the CID program doesn't have necessarily one direct path to a career, right? So this isn't a teaching degree or law degree where there's a clear succession for you. Instead, there's a huge diverse range of career opportunities, some looking at work in development agencies or international organizations. We currently have alumni at UNESCO's Global Education Monitoring Report. They might be working in international finance institutions or NGOs or civil society organizations, think tanks, higher education. We have individuals, alumni in international education offices. We also have an alumni currently at the British Council. So there's a huge range of things. It's really, as long as you're looking at international education, kind of education and development, in government, outside of government, NGOs, there's a huge range of opportunities. And one of the goals throughout this year is for us to expose you to those different opportunities so you can see what fits for you and what doesn't, and kind of the variety of paths towards a career in this field. Okay, what else makes society or CID unique? I mean, Edinburgh, it is a magical city. It's mid-size. We're in the top 20 for a lot of things, including best student cities, most sustainable cities, one of the greener cities in the UK. It's just a beautiful place. When I came for my interview, I fell in love with it immediately, and I'm still very happy living in Edinburgh, walking around, seeing the castle and Salisbury Craigs and the palace, and just all the beautiful architecture and nature. But I think this is what makes us most unique, is that we are a thriving dynamic community. So when we created CID program, we created it with other parts of CID. So we have a CID research group, which brings together over 50 researchers from across the university. We have a student society, which is one of the few postgraduate run societies in the university, and I think one of the only ones at Moray House. And so combined, this gives you access to a wide range of other opportunities for academic and networking events, social events. So ideally, you're feeling at home. And this is what some of our students have said about the community before, that this is like a large family gathering. And I tell my students that you're in this community for this year and for the rest of your life. So this is just part of who we are. You're also here to take part and develop the aims for this community. So we do take student voice into consideration quite a bit, and students are here to drive the community forward. So as student on the right said, together we shaped and co-shaped the direction of the community. We do this through town halls, which are regular community meetings around a theme. We bring in guest speakers. We talk about what we've done as a community and where we want to go. We also have a virtual mentoring program where current students are connected with alumni, so they're able to provide more student-only support and insight. We do a range of social, academic, networking, and next steps events. An example for some of this, so just earlier this week, we had our Education and Development Career Panel. So this is an online Save the Children, ActionAid, all join to share about their career journey and provide tips for students that are looking to get into the field. We also had a high-level event earlier this year where we had UNESCO's Global Education Monitoring Report come in and individuals from the Scottish Government talking about education and technology during the Scottish national launch. So briefly, who teaches in the MSc CID? So I'm the program director. Prior to being here, I worked at UNESCO's Global Education Monitoring Report and in civil society. And so I focus a lot on global governance, global learning metrics, that global local connection. We have Lindsay Horner, who does education and conflict, Viti Actis, who does some higher education and global citizenship, Alejandra Barlete, who is regional higher education, Daniel Shepard, who's going to be brand new coming in this year, who does inclusive refugee education, and Christina Iannelli, who does social inequalities for us. So I'm going to pause now and invite Willow to come and share a little bit about her student experience. So Willow, welcome. Thanks so much for coming and joining.
Yeah, thank you, Will. Can you hear me? Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, okay, no problem. Hi everyone, this is Willow, come from China, and I'm the student in CID now. I know today you are in a new chapter of your education and personal life, and I would like to share some the incredible journey I have had in our comparative education and the international development CID program. And I believe it will do all the same for you. So let's start from my background. My own educational journey began in China, in Changchun Normal University, and where I majored in science education and minored in bilingual physics education. Actually, 4 year learning built me into a qualified education practitioner, and my following experiences as bilingual science teacher and the science coordinator for secondary in the international school had actually shaped my teaching perspective, and also give me a chance to think about my future personal development. Actually, my career goal is to be an educational researcher with a focus on studying the operation model of China education system, especially in bilingual education. So to do that, it's essential to work about the nature of driving forces of the educational system and have the ability to tell the differences and the rationales in the education system of various countries from a higher dimension. So that's why I quit the job and came here, came to join in our program. And the University of Edinburgh attracted me with its dedication to creating an inclusive and enriching academic environment. And also, of course, as Will said, it has a higher ranking. It's attractive for all the Chinese students, I believe. And for our program, our CEID program in particular offers a unique approach to understanding the complex layers of education across diverse cultures and its roles in international development. Within this program, actually, we don't just study global issues, we actively experience them together. Like we had a field trip to London, which gave us the chance to visit UNICEF, where we engaged with the global education policies and its real world impact. And also, as well as mentioned about the dissertation, actually our program offers two types of dissertations, the traditional one and another one is placement-based dissertation. We call it PBD. The second one offers us a chance to connect with the real world cases. And I have applied for it and got approved to join in one of the PBD. And I'm going to traveling to Malawi next month to collect data. So I really appreciate about that. And on the other hand, the strength of our community actually lies in its diversity. Like shown in this picture, the second picture here, we had a potluck party where students come from like more than 15 countries, share their cultural heritages through food. We are so close to each other. And that's why I choose the University of Edinburgh and the CID program. It's where the education and the community intervene, fostering not only academic excellence but also global sensibility. And now as you step into the new chapter, and I want to share a few insights that I have enriched my experience in the CID program. This is place of collective wisdom and shared experience, as mentioned previously. So in this community, you can have a rich experience if you could step up of your comfort zone and embrace with the community. If there's one piece of advice I can give you is to participate actively in the community. And on the other hand, for academic section, you may hear that the University of Edinburgh is quite tough. There will be some challenges, but keep up with your studies, manage your time well, and maintain a balanced life. You can go to library and the gym frequently. The journey may be demanding, but it's also incredibly rewarding. And of course, you can seek for help. Our students advisor and our professors, they are all so friendly and ready to give you support. And also you can ask the questions from me and also another alumni, and we do have the bodies to give you advice to support you during the journey. And at the end, to all of you, I would like to see that the University of Edinburgh and the CID program choose you for a reason. You are here because you have the potential to do it. You have the potential to make a real impact. So take every opportunity, engage with every challenge, and enjoy every moment of your time here. Hope you will have a good experience. And if you have any questions, I would like to give my opinions at the Q&A section. Yeah, that's for my part. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Will. It's wonderful having you share your experience and seeing some of these pictures coming from your experience in the cohorts, from UNICEF, from the potluck, from the local organizations panel. Also, just thank you. Willow also participates as part of our event planning team, who helped put on some of these amazing events. So wonderful stuff. Okay. So before I close, just a couple of other things. As Willow mentioned, we're a very diverse program, and I think we see that as one of our strengths. We have individuals coming from a lot of different countries, but then we also recognize the diversity within countries as well. So I think this last year we had 27 individuals in the cohort coming from 11 or 12 countries. And as I think I mentioned online, we have currently over 300 applicants for next year coming, and those applicants are from over 40 countries. So it is an amazing opportunity to a chance to learn from individuals' experience. What is it like to teach science in this context versus a different context? The other bits, if you're interested in applying, and I wanted to share this, and then I'm happy to answer questions around it. So is that we also really value work experience. And so one of the other ways that we try to create diversity within this program is providing a lot of work experience opportunities, but valuing work experience as part of the applicant pool. What that means is that if you are here today and let's say you have a degree in a different background, so you have a degree in engineering or computer science, and maybe that's not listed as our relevant degrees, but you've decided to take that and you've become a teacher, or you've been working in education, or you've been working in development area, and you have at least 3 years of experience that is either paid or non-paid, full-time or part-time, then you need to make sure that you're putting that on your application. Okay. So we have a great person on our current cohort from Saudi Arabia who has a background in computer science, but she's been teaching for a long time and working in the education field. And so her work experience got her to a point where she has an offer from us to join CID this past year. So we do very much value work experience. If you have work experience, be sure you're putting it down in your personal statement and on your application. All right, I think Aiko is just sharing some of these links here as we are getting ready for question and answer. Please do email me if you've got questions after this, or you've got personal questions you want to ask. My email is now, I think, in the chat. And you can also follow us on Twitter or X to see what else we're sharing about. Okay, so I'm going to pause there. And we have, I think, about a half an hour or so for questions. So again, feel free to add whatever questions you have to the chat, and we'll try to capture them as we go.
Thank you so much, Will. That was super. Maybe I think the next tab shows how to get back to the chat, so I'll see if that.
There we go.
There we go. So there's in the bottom right corner, you should be able to see the text chat. Actually, you guys all told us where you were from, so hopefully you'll be able to find the text chat. And please feel free to type any questions for Will or for Willow into the chat, and we'll try our best to answer.
As we're waiting for questions, I guess one of the questions that I get quite a bit are, well, what do our graduates do? And I gave you some sense of that. But we do also have a CID community website. On this, you'll see a featured alumni section of blogs, and we're still building that out, but it does give you a sense. We had our most recent featured alumni, I think, posted last month, alumni who's currently working in Mexico, but it gives you a sense on what some of our alumni are doing, how they've transitioned from the master's to their current careers, as well as more information on the three parts of the community: the society, the program, and the research group. So that's not a bad spot to start. Okay, Irene, do we accept people whose GPA is lower than the requirements? Yes, so let me expand on that some. So there's kind of three ways in which you can get to being a competitive applicant, right? So this doesn't guarantee that you'll be giving an offer, but that you're at least being considered for an offer. So for us, that means that you have a relevant degree and have met the GPA requirements or mark requirements, and that relevant degree is your undergrad. If you do that, then you get 2 points, and 2 points is what you need to be considered a qualified applicant for our program. As I mentioned before, we really care about work experience. So if you didn't meet GPA requirements and the relevant degree, or you don't have a relevant undergraduate degree, but you've got experience in education and development for at least 3 years, and again, that could be paid or unpaid, part-time or full-time, then you have 3 years or more of relevant work experience. We can give you 2 points for that, and you can actually qualify for a potential offer based on your work experience, even if you don't hit GPA requirements. The other way you can gain access to an offer, I guess, is by holding a master's degree. So if you hold a master's degree, then we take that in consideration and give you credit for that as well. Yeah, so I'd say if you're someone who's finishing and you don't quite have a GPA, but this is the course for you, then there is a route through work experience. You might have to wait a year or two to gain that work experience, but there's definitely a route towards an offer. All right, we got a question. Can you tell me about the studying period? I'll tell you what, I can tell you a little bit about the timing of it, but maybe Willow can talk about the experience and, some study tips or what the intensity of it. So timing of it, we have first, when I talk about first semester, we're talking about September to the end of November. So that's a 10-week period, and then you have assessments, usually beginning of December, that you're working on. And then the second semester runs January, typically to the end of March, another 10-week period. And then again, you have assessments and assignments that are due after that. And then our dissertation, typically the most intense period of the dissertation runs right after your courses are done, right? And so that's usually the most intense period is May, June, July, and then our dissertations are due at the beginning of August. So, Willow, do you want to add anything about what your study experience is like, or some tips on how to make
sure.
sure you're effective?
Yeah, because as Will said, 1 year learning is quite tight. The time is limited, and as I mentioned before, I suggest everyone to balance your life learning and enjoy your life in UK. As personally, I enjoy traveling, and also I'm so dedicated to the academic section. So for the 10 weeks, I'm concentrated to the academic part. At the end of November, we finish the first semester and we do not have the exam part. We don't need to do the assignment. So within the assessment section, you can actually move on to somewhere else. You can enjoy a new cities or or breathe some fresh air to fresh your mind about to give your insight about your assignment, to enjoy your holiday and also to finish your assignment during the December. And then semester 2 start from the February or January, I think, and end at the end of the March. And now we are in the period of the assignment for the semester 2. But now I'm traveling France and also doing the assessment at the same times. So I suggest everyone to like balance your academic with your own life. And after this short, relaxed holiday, I will be totally focused on my dissertation. Actually, a dissertation has already started. I mean, there's an overlap at the end of the semester 2 and start the proposal of your dissertation. It happens like because our program start early, as I mentioned, we have the special one, place-based, placement-based dissertation. So that means we need to start the proposal early so we can have enough time to collect the data. So actually, we have already done the proposal at the end of March, and we have a longer time to do our dissertation. Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks, Willa. So I have a question about funding here. I'm going to share a couple of things with you. One is, so I just shared a YouTube clip. So last October, I think, I'm also the school's director of internationalization, and we did a session on funding for international students to master's programs. The largest funding is actually not Morehouse or University of Edinburgh driven. The largest pots of funding tend to be around Chevening scholarships, which is a UK funding scheme, and Commonwealth scholarships. We talk about both of those, including actually CID current students that are Chevening fellows, providing their experience. I would encourage you to look at that. Those two big scholarships close in November for the following September. So if you're relying on those, you probably have to delay your start until 2025, 26. But I would encourage you to take a look there because the current students from CID that are here on Chevenings are also talking about what the application process is like and giving you tips on how to apply. Yeah.
And I would like to add some information. Well,
Yep, go for it, Will.
yeah, because the scholarship is it should be applied and it's not open for everyone, right? But I want to mention that we do have the fundings for dissertation for everyone who can traveling to outside of Edinburgh, I think, to collect the data, right? And you can apply for that funding for dissertation.
Yes, yeah, we do try to make sure there's some funding available for placement-based dissertations. So if your concern is, I really want to be here for a placement, but I'm not sure I'll have the money to go to Malawi or Kenya, we try to work on that.
Yeah, but it does has the funding for dissertation.
Yeah. Aiko, I know that you put our fees and funding page in there. Do you want to share a little bit about what's available there?
So I just wanted to signpost that page so you can find details about the school scholarships on that page, which I think Will mentioned. Well, definitely in the funding event that Will hosted in October, you will be able to find fuller details about everything. But on that page, you can find out about Morehouse's Access Scholarship, which is for a UK resident, I believe, from a particular demographic, and also the Morehouse Country Scholarship, which is for students from particular countries. So definitely have a look at that page and see if you are from a country that is eligible. And the application for the scholarship is now open. So please do make a start on that if you haven't already. And there's also it's called GREAT, Great Scholarship, which is for students from Mexico. So if you're eligible for that one, the application deadline for that one is, I think, at the end of April. So look quickly and make a start on an application there. And also on that page, you can find the university's scholarship search tool. We would always recommend students to search far and wide for funding. It's you never know if your own government maybe is offering funding or some sort of bursary for postgraduate study abroad. So look far and wide and think about your own personal characteristics that might make you unique, and there might be a scholarship or funding opportunity relevant to you. But you can have a search on the university's search tool and see if there might be something that you are eligible for, and then please do apply for those.
Excellent. Thanks, Heiko. Okay, so I'm going to finish the funding and then I'll get up to Zara's question. So, Sharab, yeah, good luck with your Achieving Scholarship application. We have had success with Achieving Scholars on CEID in the past 2 years. They're incredibly competitive scholarships to get on, so I think we've been lucky this year. We have a Achieving Scholar from Turkey and an Achieving Scholar from Tonga. With us, the prior year we had Achieving Scholar, I think we had 2 Achieving Scholars from China, actually. Or no, we had Achieving Scholar from China and 1 from Paraguay the prior year. So we've been lucky to have Achieving Scholars. It's a very competitive bid, and I wish you luck on your application. Go back up to Jara's question on networking opportunities throughout the degree. So I mentioned that the kind of the practical experience is something that I value a lot, and we've tried to put it into the program. And so ideally, there's opportunities to gain quite an extensive network throughout this. So if we go back. So in our picture here in the top right, this is a picture taken during our local organizations panel. So local organizations are individuals working within Edinburgh or around Edinburgh in education and development. This is Dr. Gary Dawn, who's the director of UN House Scotland, coming and sharing about what they do, but also about how students can get involved in UN House Scotland. We've have in the past, I think 7 different local organizations share out at the local organizations panel, including Scotland's International Development Alliance, ScotDec, who hosts placements, the Scottish Malawi Partnership, who hosts placement. We have connections with local Oxfam and a bunch of different local organizations that come in. So that's one opportunity. I talked about our education and development career panels. So we had these 5 individuals. Unfortunately, Amina from the Association for the Development of Education in Africa wasn't able to make it. But individuals, we also had a first panel, which had individuals from 4 different organizations join. And so those are both seen as networking opportunities. The London trip is seen as a networking opportunity where you're able to meet in person. And I think UNICEF does a really nice job. We had 4 individuals working at UNICEF talking to students in small groups about their experience, which provides a great opportunity to get to know them better. And ODI, when we did the Scottish National launch of the 2023 GEM report, we had a senior analyst from the report, Anna Diadio, stay with us and have a student-only opportunity to talk about her experience and stuff. So another interesting networking opportunity. So I think ideally you come out of this with quite an interesting network of individuals. One of the first things we do at the first town hall is ask individuals, who do you want to talk to? Who do you want to connect with this year? And we tried to, through Willow and kind of others in the event planning team, identify events and individuals that the students have said they want to talk to make sure that this is an enriching experience for you. So other questions, we're open to pretty much anything. We can talk student life, applications, courses, admissions, Edinburgh, whatever you want to talk about.
While we're waiting for more questions, I'll maybe just pop onto the next slide. Oh, and there's a weird thing that's going over the top of it. But just to mention that the university has something called a virtual visit, and I'll put the link to that in the chat in just a moment. But if you're not local to Edinburgh or not likely to be able to get here before the start of the teaching happens, you can have a look at this virtual visit and see some of our beautiful campus, our quad, and some of our classrooms to get a kind of feel for what the campus is like. And there's also a university student chat. And it's great to have Willow here, but if you're also wanting to get in touch with any students just to ask about what their experience is like, sort of in your own time, then please do make use of that. And there are a couple of Murray House students available on that student chat. So I'll put the links to that in the chat just now.
Excellent. Thanks, Eiko. Because Eiko also just put up the CID research group, so we've just updated that website. And all of our faculty are also active researchers. You're more than welcome to join our research group events. Occasionally, we need research support, but we also share out, and we do a lot of sharing out of opportunities coming forth, talk about careers, talking about internships and so forth. For instance, we have an upcoming event that was just shared with me from part of our research group, which will be on towards an ecological pluriversity, so decolonizing environment and curriculum through dialogue across difference. This is an event that our CAD researchers group doing, combined with a different research group on sustainability and education on campus. So that's going to be happening in a couple of weeks.
I see a question that says, can we have a chance to visit the campus during the study session? If anyone ever wants to come to Edinburgh and visit the campus, I would be happy to give you a tour around. So just do get in touch if you find yourself in Edinburgh, and I'll be happy to coordinate some sort of meeting with you. I'm sure Will would be happy to meet with you as well. So yes, definitely yes.
Just going to go back to here, just in case we have any questions on courses. I think one of the things that we also try to do as a program team is to do diversity in assessments. So I know assessments can be anxiety driven from a lot of our students. And so we do try to do assessments that are diverse and practical. So that includes, for global governance and education, you'll have assessments around things like policy briefs. We have poster sessions, we have debate sessions, we have conflict maps going on. So we try not to just be essay driven. Obviously, you're going to have to do some writing to help you prepare and be ready for your dissertation as well. But we do try to have that kind of diversity of assessment so you can hang out with some practical examples and skills that you can go forward with. Raina, thanks for the question. So we'll have actually I should probably just add that. So what percent go on grad school? So we have individuals that are both deciding to go on and get another master's degree, which happens occasionally. But we have quite a bit that go on and pursue a PhD. So we had a PhD panel of alumni this last December, I believe. And on that panel, we had PhD students joining us from programs in the UK, in the US, in Hong Kong, and in Spain, I think. I think we also have PhD students currently in China and Malaysia. And I do want to be clear that the most common route, given the timing of the dissertation or timing of the master's program, there's very few students that actually go straight from their master's to their PhD. And that's because of the timing of the application and when you need to actually get the application completed. If you were completing a PhD application in the UK, you would probably be working on it and completing it either at the beginning or in the middle of your master's dissertation, which makes it challenging. If you're doing an application for somewhere else, like the US, then that application round is due quite a bit earlier. But we do have individuals that complete their master's, then focus on their PhD application, or maybe publishing their master's dissertation or publishing something from it in preparation for their PhD application, and then getting into the PhD program. And I'm actually excited. I think one of the research group activities we'll be having this summer is one of our alumni who's a third-year PhD at Bristol, as part of a funded project looking at comparative accountability systems at the University of Bristol with one of her faculty members, and she'll be presenting some of that work this summer. Let's see. Yeah, and then work experience, we will have, I think we already have a alumni career panel on our YouTube page, which I should share here. So we have any of our online events, we tried to post there. So we'll have our education development career panels, our most recent alumni career panel on there to give you a sense on where our alumni are doing. Yeah, so I'd encourage you to take a look there. We'll have our PhD panel up there as well, hopefully within the next month.
Okay, well, and there's a question for me.
Yes.
It's about international student fee. How much it gonna cost per year? I think it's really depend on the person, but I can give you a rough number about that. Besides the tuition fee, we do have the accommodation fee. It's around I think it ranked from £7,000 to £12,000. £12,000 I think per year. Like me personally, I got like £9,000 per year for accommodation. And for the living fees, it really depends on your person, how do you decide. But for the basic learning fee, it's I think like £300 for £300 to £400 is totally enough for the basic learning. Basic living, like the food and the basic traveling within Edinburgh. And if you do worry about your fee, and I know some of our classmates, they do have the part-time job, and our student base, I mean Chinese student base, I'm not sure about other countries. For the student visa, you are allowed to have 20 hours per week to get part-time job. I think in my answer can satisfy with your question. Thank you.
Thanks, Willow. Right now, I know that Aiko's addressed that. To give a little more specifics on the CID, so our average age in the cohort tends to be about 27, 28, with probably about half individuals coming straight from the undergrad and the other half coming with work experience. I think the oldest individual we've had over the last 2 years is almost 40 joining, and we have individuals as young as 21. Mandy's question on opportunities to discuss optional modules before deciding. Yes. So for semester 1, before you arrive, I tried to, it's a little bit different because of the timing. So I provide an online session where you can come and ask questions about the optional module. You'll also have a chance beforehand to just email me questions as well. So if you're if you came in and said, hey, I've got this background, I really am interested in this, what do you think the right courses are? Or, oh, this is the course I'm interested in, do you think it makes sense? This is what it's going to do? I'm happy to answer those, but I'll also have an online session where you'll have a chance before you need to decide on your option 1 or your semester 1 courses. And then in semester 2, we'll have a course choice fair where we'll have course organizers, and this is, again, especially for courses on the left here, course organizers come in and talk about their courses, and you'll have an opportunity to ask questions before you need to make a decision. So Mo asked, do we have a master's PhD track for international students? The answer to that is no. We don't. We have had some CID master's students continue their PhD in places, including at the University of Edinburgh, but that's not an automatic track. You would still have to apply for the PhD, get accepted, find your supervisors and so forth. So unfortunately we don't have that. research opportunities for CID students. Yeah, so there are some occasional research opportunities. So I know that Lindsay and Ali had a project on social theory walks that they just reached out for a paid research assistant. So I think some of our students have probably applied for that. I have had the last 2 years a research group work with me on publications. So 2 years ago, that publication, which is going to be on global governance and the SDGs, should be coming out this year. This last year, I worked on kind of insider looks at international organizations with a group of 5 students from CID. That chapter should be coming out also probably at the end of this year. So there are some, but it's not always given. It's not going to be a standard bit, but we try to, when there are opportunities, we make sure we share them.
I just found a bunch of other resources around money and cost of living as well, which I've added into the chat. Sorry to go back to that topic, but Willow is pretty bang on the average, so that sounds like it would be a useful resource if anyone's wanted to think about other costs.
And I think going back to the research group, can you participate? Yes, you can definitely participate. And officially, you're not a member, but you're invited to pretty much all the public events, including the ones I just shared out earlier. Welcome to join conversations around those. If there are opportunities, then we make sure to share that. We have a very large Teams page or Teams channel where we share out opportunities for the whole community, but also specifically opportunities for the current cohort.
Excellent. I think Will has answered all the questions that have come in so far, and we still have about 5 minutes left. So if anyone wants to ask any other questions, there's still a wee bit of time. So please type those into the chat now. But likewise, if you feel that all your questions have been answered, if you could just let us know, that would be useful.
And I know it's probably going to be, as soon as you leave here, you end up with some questions. So Aiko, I think, shared my email beforehand, but please do feel free to reach out to me, whether it's as you're applying, you've got questions, or before you start applying, you've got questions, reach out with anything. Okay, will we study the required courses together with other major concerning education or only with CID? Okay. So our 2 introductory courses in semester 1 are, I would say, they're not limited to just CID, but it ends up being 95% CID students. They are open to some others. We also invite our colleagues from the Masters in International Development in the different schools to join our Introduction to Education and International Development, as well as our Education and Conflict course. So you will have some students from Morehouse and potentially some students outside of the School of Education and Sport joining, but the introductory required courses are pretty much all CID. The methods courses are for the whole school. So you'll be in there with the rest of the master's students for the most part throughout Morehouse, which makes it a very big course, but you have a chance to meet with those students outside of CID as well. How many students are there in CID? This year, there are 27 students in CID. We are hoping for up to 40 for next year, but that's about the maximum size we want to get to. So, yeah. So we try to make it so that 40 is kind of a maximum of two very full workshops for us. And also, once we get over 40, then it's going to be a little bit challenging to navigate London with a big group. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah. Yeah, we had Fatia and I both joining in London this year, which was a lot of fun.
A lot of fun, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. It looks like all the questions maybe have been answered, so I don't know if you want to just say any farewells, and I can hit the recording button.
Yeah, I think, a big thank you from me for joining and your interest in the MSc and CID program. You've seen the website somewhere to know more about us as a program and as a research group. Just a little bit of a shout out to Willow for joining here. Also, even on this slide, you can see some of the student input. So our logo was developed by students. To the left was one of the pictures from our student in our CID photo contest. And so this is the Morehouse campus, which is just beautiful. Right, so I think that's it for me. Please do feel free to reach out if you've got any additional questions. You've got my email, and thanks so much for joining.